do I look like a guy that's going to be rich? What does that guy look like? And that's who I went and found. I think people don't have those critical conversations with themselves. And I also think it stems from like friends. And I'm not saying all your friends. I think people need to compartmentalize their friends. You need your friends that are super ultra motivated to be successful. There's nothing wrong with your friends that you just want to go out and get drunk with and have fun. I don't see why people are like, I got to cut everybody. I didn't have that upper group and I had to go looking. And I found them at cigar lounges, higher end nightclubs and bars, 5-star hotels. When I say find them, it means I just had enough conversations with people that were clearly making more money than I was. And I ended up becoming that type of person.
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for showing up, man.
Thanks for having me.
This is sick. I wanted to do this off podcast, but seriously, we started our business back in 2021. And since that point, you have been a huge inspiration. I talk about you all the time to everybody I know. Like, you've been a trailblazer in the game. You've gone through a shit ton of adversity, just like as any business owner would. And you've also just been doing cool shit and like really blowing up people that, most people know, and they don't know who I've always respected the fact that like you have a level of humbleness to know, and like there's stuff that we can talk about and can't talk about, but like you have consistently blown people up on social media, and I just have a massive amount of respect. So thank you again.
Oh, no, thanks for having me, man. And this is, I'm glad you put this together.
Speaking of the caliber of people you've worked with, one of the first things, and you mentioned it outside, you talk about psychology, and you're like, we work in a similar line of business, and you learn so much about people that it's like you kind of feel like you're like in this like outside of the matrix viewpoint on just the world as a whole. What has the last like 4 years for you taught you about just humans in general?
Well, I mean, learning myself, like going viral and like because collectively, I think I'm at almost 200 million views on the internet in the last like give or take year and a half, 2 years. So I've learned a lot about myself introspectively of how you react to that. And then I've also helped, a myriad of other people get hundreds of millions of views. And you see, it makes you really jaded, like how society is and what you have to, like what people say they want, their behaviors do the exact opposite. When people are like, oh, I want like that pure value-based content. It's like, no, you don't. You want somebody to talk shit and say something outlandish, and then you want to make fun of them. And the byproduct of that is they're going to get a lot of views. They're going to get a lot of followers, and you look like a dick on the internet. It's like even the nature of like watching people behave, or how they behave to certain content. And like, I've seen a lot of like I don't know if it would be like cultural patterns before they start becoming mainstream, because you could just kind of see it happen. One that I'm like super fascinated with right now is like, well, actually a couple, is the fact that nobody buys through the bio link. Like, and it's useless to even say like, click the link in my bio to learn more. It's like, nobody's going to fucking do that. But what they do is we work with an e-commerce company. They sell, cavity fighting chewing gum. And their business thrives off going viral, and we help them go viral. And because of that, they'll have a video that'll get 5 million views. And in a matter of like 24, 48 hours, they will sell out their entire website, and they will sell out all on Amazon. Not a single click comes from the bio link. It's people going to Amazon and typing in their name, or going directly to Google and typing in their name. Like, people don't trust the bio links. But people continually say, you got to have your profile optimized. You got to have all that. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't think it matters. And then there's the other one of like how many, I don't think people follow anymore, which is very, everybody's trying to get followers. That's the whole point of like this game, especially on Instagram. It's like Instagram's everybody's little child. They want to cultivate it and get followers, but nobody follows anymore. It's like, I'm like, how many videos does somebody need to see before they go, I like this guy, let me follow him? I think it's in like the double digits. And that's why like I've always, for the last 2 years since I've been doing short form, it's like followers don't matter. Only thing that matters is getting views, because the views are followers are a byproduct of views. If you get enough views, you get enough followers, and you don't get followers unless you get views. But everybody wants to focus on followers. Doesn't make sense to me.
But we're getting into a world where it is so unbelievably, like the market in terms of it. We were in the last, I would say 2 years, we've been in a supply deficit in terms of content on social media. There isn't enough supply to counteract the amount of demand that people are looking for these types of videos. Your job has gotten exponentially harder in the last, and it's in part because of how open you are and how like we people don't know, but last year I went to your event,
Mm.
and it was funny because you were like, I was expecting, like maybe clients, maybe whatever that would show up. Maybe I get some editors through this. And he's like, I'm just teaching my competition how to beat me, basically.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. But how have you guys innovated as a company as things have gotten so competitive? And yet, I haven't seen from your guys' set any changes in terms of the core. You're very confident, and I know my fucking formula,
Mm.
and I'm gonna continue to like iterate on it. But it's not like I haven't seen a macro change in terms of a swing from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, for the context of the podcast, like I'm technically the guy that created the subtitles that everybody uses on social media, and because of legalities, I can't say who,
Mhm.
I've worked with. Um, but in doing that, I am very confident in my like. There was a reason why that worked, like, and there's a reason why I started using it, and I was like, oh, like this really does hold attention. It's we've done iterations of it, and it's cool to see the evolution of the subtitles. But I think that inherently the problem with, and I kind of started talking about it last year, is most people when they think I need to, if a creator hires like an editing agency or like a short form agency, the creator automatically assumes that their shit is perfect and they are never wrong and they are awesome. And that's just the client freelancer dynamic. You have to deal with that. That's just the reality.
Mhm.
And that's not saying that I mean, I work with a lot of the people that 99% of the time they are perfect. They are fucking awesome.
Mhm.
You know. So it's like knowing that they look to you to innovate per se. And the problem that editors, and they're just notorious for this, is they'll just keep innovating by making the editing more complicated. Now, that's great in certain instances, but that is horrible for a scaling perspective. You can't like I love the edits now with like the background disappears, there's motion graphics, there's all this shit. And I'm like, and I have editors that come to me all the time for jobs and they're like, Ryan, this is what I can do. Look at my reels, like look at this. I'm like, cool, you can't do 5 of those or 6 of those a day.
Mhm.
Because those take you 6, 8 hours to do. I said, one video a day used to be the standard. Now that's bare minimum. Like I put an account on one video a day if it's on like life support, like and it's like, hey, we're not going to get content for a while, like or like they need a break. Like you need to do a minimum 2, 3, 4 videos a day to like really push growth now. And it wasn't like that when I started. It started at one video a day,
Mhm.
but as you were saying, like the competition it's saturated as hell. Everybody's making the same videos, so it's like you have to do more and you have to do more like frequently and keep showing up. So when I look at the edits now, I'm like, those are dope, but you can't scale that.
Mm.
So like I'm always like trying to find a way to like I like to take little bits from pieces stuff. Like I do parts of videos that the background might disappear or like there might be an animated something or other if it makes sense. But the reality is it's more important for 3 videos a day, 7 days a week to go out other than one dope video
Mhm.
because it's a game of just I don't know what's going to hit. Statistically, I can guess better than majority, but I still don't know what's going to work. So we're just throwing shit at the wall, and we do it at a higher pace at a rapid scale than most people. So we figure shit out faster, and that's always been my like. Nobody can compete with the data that I've seen and I see on a daily basis. And there are people that are could guess and like there's softwares now and there's like but like yesterday my company posted over 100 videos.
Nobody's getting that
Today we're
data.
posting 100 videos. Tomorrow we're posting 100 videos. It doesn't stop. So like when I look at the numbers, and I don't do it every day, I look usually once a week. We have a team meeting, we go over all the accounts. So like once a week I'm like, all right, what went viral last week? Like or did anything go viral? Like or what really shit the bed last week? And that's just rolled into week after week, month after month. And we've collectively, I think as a company, we got to be close to like 2,000 now, but we've made well over 1,000 viral videos. I
Mm.
mean, we did on TikTok last month, we did 13. And that's not counting. We probably equally surpassed that on YouTube. And like, we only really track TikTok because I bonus my company for TikTok. Because it's always been our core focus is TikTok, which is again different than most agencies. Everybody wants to focus on YouTube or Instagram, when in my opinion, TikTok just drives the whole market. So if it works there, and I know there'll be people that argue with me, if it works on TikTok, it works everywhere else
Mhm.
because they're copying.
Mm.
Everybody's copying TikTok. There are some differences in demographics on the platforms. Yes, I don't want to like before people freak out. It's just I've had time and time again, I've seen in my company a video goes viral on TikTok, it gets posted to Instagram, it goes viral there, it gets posted to Facebook, it goes viral there. And it's like next thing you know, you reach 20 million people off one video. And I see it all the time. So it's like for somebody, and I've done it myself multiple times, like a good video will crush everywhere. And that's kind of what I always focus on instead of editing. It's, is the hook good? Is it structured well? Does it tell a story? Like, does this video make sense? Like, and I've always focused on that. And you could rip all the subtitles away, post videos, post ugly videos, post blurry videos. It does not matter. If the audio is clear and the story and the hook is good and the story is great, there's no stopping the video.
I'm interested when I look at the type of people that you work with. We had a conversation last year, and you were talking about the fact that like everybody obviously wants your clients. Like it's like you know
Mhm.
what I mean. Like everybody wants the people that perform that step up to the plate and they kill it and they do this type of thing. And I remember going to you, I was like, "Yeah, like what's that like?" And you were like, "These people are as successful as they are for a reason, and they will make sure that their standard is everybody's standard." How is that? How have you changed in your own business and your own mentality when you're constantly surrounded by these people that their standards are so unbelievably high, no matter how well you perform with them?
Well, there's no I mean, there is I think the problem that like a lot of agencies and I can reference editors, but like if you're short form agency owners, like I think the problem they face is they don't set the track. Like there's like a lead up to getting a client. And especially like a big client. Like if somebody with like let's say a million followers is going to hire somebody, that their business and their brand, their job is video and or social media. They're looking to work with somebody who has an agency. Like you have to yourself look like somebody that they would work with. Like, so that's where I've always been. It's very hard. I think it's going to get even harder moving into like 2024 for agency owners to get clients if they're not actively making content themselves. And when I say make content yourselves, like I'm not saying you have to be an amazing personal brand, but there are qualities that, like, if I look at somebody and go, well, this dude's got 150 videos on his Instagram, they're all well edited. He's speaking better. You can see he's gotten better and he's got like 1,000 followers. I don't care about the followers, but I care that he's still creating videos, even if he's not blowing up. That's a guy that I want to work with. Like, or, I worked with so many bigger people. And it wasn't until like, I do think that all agency owners and freelancers and editors should grind their face off to get to 100,000 followers on a single platform. Doesn't matter what that is, like any of them. You got to get one because people treat you differently when you have 100,000 followers. I've experienced it, like even your clients. All of a sudden, but I think from a client to agency dynamic or a client to freelancer relationship, you're no longer just that guy that does my videos. You're a creator who does my
Mm,
videos. Like, and I've seen that switch in conversations as I've gotten bigger, and then they also want to make sure that you're putting enough attention on their stuff and you're not always thinking about yours. So it's a
that's a
very,
huge one. And not to interrupt you because you're
no.
on a great point, but the thing that I've seen, I was a part of. I had a client a few like whatever, but we're in a conversation, and just recently this has happened consistently where they're like, "Why are you posting so much?" And they feel this like almost like this like competition, and I'm like, "You're the million, like you're the successful, like you have all the social proof. I'm just a guy that's like
Mhm.
posting content because it's a part of my job. Like you know what I mean? Like, and it's I can imagine at your level that is probably a conversation that comes up from time to time.
I mean, it's more, I don't necessarily think the conversation comes up. I'm very respectful of the clients. And I never like, and this is, you even said it kind of when you were giving me an introduction, like I don't clout chase my clients. Like I want to be big because I am big. I
Mhm.
don't want to be big because, oh, he helped Brandon Carter get big or he helped Cardone or no, like I don't want that their fame. Like that's not for me. Like I want to be known like, yo, this guy makes really good videos and he's always going viral. And then he's teaching people how to go viral. And then he's creating cool events and he's got like and he's never really selling anything. Like, I like this guy. Like, that's my brand. I want that to get bigger. And then as a bonus, it's like, well, he works with these people too, and that's why. So it's like I think that like I've worked, I mean, with one specific, client that we had for over a year and a half. They went on to be massive. Everybody that is listening to this knows exactly who they are. Never took a single picture with them. I never shared anything on my story. Never done like I never used them to make myself bigger.
There's only one. I know the video that if you know what, or there's
Mhm.
one video specifically that ties everything together, and obviously like that video's out there, but like you have to dig
Mhm.
to find out that information, and it's super
And
interesting.
the story on that video was we edited it, and then I asked permission because we were running the account, so it was our call. I could have put anything out,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. Like we can talk about that because I don't think people care enough about people's brands to care about what's being posted. Um, like we managed the account, we were posting the videos. I sent him, I sent this person him a link to the video. I said, "Are you cool with me posting this or my team posting this? And if you are, is it okay if I tag myself?" He said yes. He would have said no. That video just went to the trash.
Mhm.
Would have never been posted, and I'd have been like, "Dang!" But but I'm cool with that. Like, and I think most people aren't. There's like this inherent, and it's even touchy, like, because I'm vlogging now. And, for reference, like I'm vlogging the behind the scenes of me filming with clients. And the reason I'm doing that is not necessarily, because it kind of contradicts what I just said, that I'm not trying to clout chase. Because yes, their names get more views on the internet. But the reason for that is I think we're moving into an era or another year or two where it's like the focusing needs to go away from the edits, and more focus needs to be put on the filming
Mhm.
and the raw files and what's going into them, because editing it's a slave job. Like I'm an editor. Like I love video editing. You cannot succeed on the internet without video editing, but it sucks. It's horrible. 6 hours a day, 10 hours a day, staring at your screen, moving it, clicking, boop, 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 updating your software, running out of storage, fucking buying new laptops, getting the new camera. Like, it's a horrible job.
On that point, this is what I was very interested to talk to you about because I left your event last year, and me and my business partner were having the conversation. And I go, especially the way AI is moving,
Mhm.
I'm like, we're going to get to a point here. And I think this year has been a great case study to look at where
Yeah.
we already are with it, where I go, okay, you extend this time horizon 5 years, you're getting to the point where editing now, you can have you could have a movie style edit, or you could have like the most crazy edit possible, and it's going to be completely done by AI.
Mhm.
How do you, over the next 5 years, when you're looking at your business, innovate and look at that as hey, this is a present threat to my, like, maybe it's not a threat, but that's kind of what
It
I want to
is.
get
I mean,
into.
it
What do you think it
100%
is?
is. I mean, I I wish AI was better because it would save me a lot more time. I think, there's some really good AI, like some apps, Submagic being one of them. That thing is dope. And that puts subtitles, like nobody can tell a difference. I mean,
Mm-mm.
and I'm a big fan. Like one of my biggest inspirations is Casey Neistat. I'm very big on that hand. Like I like turning, like, not too much, but I like that intricacy. And I still hand edit majority of a lot of, like, some of my bigger videos are done by me because I genuinely enjoy the process of, like, I can make this a good video. Let me edit it. Let me see what I can do. But I can't do that at scale. So it's like, but with AI, the one thing that AI is not going to get is, in my case, like, I ask better questions than AI. Like, I know what culture is going to think better than AI right now. And I say right now because that could change, but right now, no. Like Opus Clip and Munch or whatever, they don't got shit on like me watching a video and going, "That's a viral clip,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Say your hook like this," and that's a strength. Like, and maybe that AI will catch up to me on that, but I would much rather listen to a human being say it than something that sounds like a robot. And I think we're seeing a lot of that type of content come out right now. And rightfully so. Like, it's helping content creators that might not necessarily ever create videos. But like, I don't work with anybody if the word script comes up.
Mm.
Like people tell hey, I want to work with your company. Like, do you script everything? I mean, if you have to script something, you don't know enough about it. You should shut up and fucking learn more.
Mhm.
Like, or learn how to talk. Like, because people will still like. I think speech is like a skill set again that most people lack. I think it's a shift of like I just make videos or I'm just making content. Like this is just content. It's like no, this is you on camera. You might want to care,
Mhm.
you know, and business owners are notorious for not caring. They're just like oh yeah, I have to do these videos for the reels. It's like okay, so you just have to do the shit that gets all the customers in your door. Like maybe you should try. Like, so I don't get it. Like I feel like smaller agencies and like local agencies, like I feel for them because they deal with some dumbass clients,
Mhm.
like, and they deal with like some very ignorant conversations and weird shit where it's like I am spoiled with who I work with, and I say spoiled, but it's like I also set myself up for that. Like for the first 6 months of my company, like it wasn't even a company; it was just like an idea. Like, yo, this TikTok thing's gonna take off, and everybody's thought it wouldn't. That's like the typical story. Everybody says no, and then well, it worked. But like there was signs that I'm like, yo, this might be something. But again, but I was willing to work with multiple clients for free. I grew a million follower account for Adley Stump, or was her name Adley Kinsman. Now she just recently got married. She's a good friend of mine now. She's speaking at my next event. Like she paid a total of like $5,000 over the course of a year, and I got her a million followers on TikTok. And no fault to her because that's all I could charge. That's what was the market was. That's that's what you get. you know.
Mhm.
Now I charge $10,000 a month
Mhm.
for the same shit I did for her, and then prior to her, I did it for three other people for free. So I don't think people are willing to. I think people are willing to work for free now, but it's like your free work isn't good.
Mhm.
So like I don't want your free work.
And I look at like so many people think that entrepreneurship is they look at entrepreneurship in this way, right? So you are a true trailblazer in your industry. Like I've talked to entrepreneurs that like one of my mentors brought stevia to
Mhm.
the United States of America.
Nice.
Stevia didn't exist in the US until he brought it there, right? This world where you can literally look at hundreds of companies that
Mhm.
have come since your like the inception of this right behind. I think there is a clear difference between a trailblazer, a visionary, like somebody that's going because and we'll get into this later on, but like the mindset of like you got a family to support, you got all this shit and you're taking a bet on something that you think is going to take off. What what goes into that like mindset of like, holy shit, this is, you know what I mean? I'm taking a big bet here.
Yeah. I mean, I've been broke a lot of times. And I think while I don't recommend people do that, I think if you've been, and I'm talking very broke, like your rent's due and you have zero money coming in and you have a fiance, and that has not happened since I've had a child. Um, as I don't think I'll let it get to that point, just because I think that's a mindset shift that happens when you have a kid.
Mhm.
But there was times when it was just me and my fiance, we were now fiance, and I was like, I can't, like, I don't have rent. Thankfully, she did have a job and she did, see things in me that maybe I didn't see in myself. But I've had those conversations and like I said, I'll figure out how to get it and I'll get it within 10 days. And somehow it always showed up. I don't know, like I'm not super spiritual. I've always just had a camera. I've always figured out how to make money filming something or doing something with a camera, and I wasn't afraid to like just go out and like get people to pay me for things. Like I'd pitch myself all day if I had to. And I think that skill set is like you get so used to being like zero that you're like, well, if I go back, I know I know how to do it again. And now it's like the saying is like, oh, I have all these skill sets now. Like, you know, like if my agency fell apart tomorrow, well, I still have the personal brand. Like, and I've gotten better at diversifying and investing in things. And when I say investing, I'm not talking stocks or crypto. I'm talking like I've invested heavily into my brand. Like I've invested heavily into a software that we're developing. I've invested heavily into my team of people. Like, so it's like I have things to fall back on. if like, yo, this isn't working anymore, we need to figure something else out. But the mindset was like I'm super competitive too when it comes to not like on a sports angle. I mean, I used to be a pro BMX racer, but
Mhm.
like I just want to like beat people. Like, and when I see somebody beat me, I'm like, yeah, I can do better than that. And it's not from like a jealousy standpoint. It's like, yo, I think I can make that better. And that was like, I've just always had that like in me. I know it's like hard to quantify, but there's also times when it's like, if you're broke, it's like there's choices you made to get there. And it's like, what didn't I see?
Mm.
What like, and prior to me starting the TikTok agency, which then became Viral Edits, you know, I had I had an affiliate marketing business that was kind of based around the wrong principles. It wasn't super ethical, made decent money, but it was like hobby money. I had a fashion brand like through YouTube, well, and not that that wasn't great, but it was teaching guys how to dress better to get laid, which I ended up getting engaged and having a child. So it's like I'm not that guy anymore. So it's like kind of unethical. So it's like, you know, not I don't want to say it's unethical because I do believe in what I've never deleted a single video, but I'm just like it wasn't I evolved and I was like that didn't fit me anymore.
Mhm.
And then like you know, the there was about a 2 year span of like not knowing what to do and then just seeing an opportunity, which was TikTok. And I was like, well, I believe in short form. I don't know if I believe in the platform yet, but it's the only shot I got, you know, because on YouTube, it's super hard. Like I'm vlogging now. My last vlog got 400 views. This same week, I got 1.5 million on TikTok.
Mhm.
Like, so it's like, it's super hard, to grow YouTube. And I'm like, okay, that's a long term play. That's not a now money thing. And then it was like, well, this TikTok thing, it seems like in a 90-day runway, I have the best shot of getting something to like, let's say 5 grand a month, which is going to pay my bills. And I was
Mm.
also super, I still am, feel like I'm super, not frugal, but I'm very conscious of like, what I spend my money on. Um, and I feel like that pays off because I never have a lot of things, So it's like my car's been paid off forever. Like I don't have loans. Like I don't have school debt. I don't have, you know, I don't. I have like zero credit, because it's like I've just always been like just scared of debt, And now I've gotten more comfortable with it as I started making money and realized the benefits of it.
Mhm.
But I wasn't ready for that, Like I needed to like be where I am now to go. Okay, well, I can spend 30 grand and then I can pay it off,
Mm.
and then I can do it again, as long as I pay it off. If I would have had that 2 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have paid it off. It wasn't
Mhm.
there, So I think it was just like, if I had to, you know, being able to like see trends, like is a skill set that I've had. Like I was, when it came to like even the YouTube channel I had, which was pickup and dating, I was the only one to say, wear this and get laid. All the other fashion YouTubers were just saying, they were insinuating this. And I was like, there's a market for guys that want to know what to wear to go out on a Friday night,
Mhm.
you know? And then even if you go back longer than that, when I was a pro BMX racer, the internet was new back. This is how, I mean, I'm 40. This is a long time ago. Like, I was like, well, people are going to want to search this internet thing maybe for training tips on their bike. So maybe they'll find mine,
Mhm.
you know? And then it was like the fashion. And then it was like, even Instagram. I was late as fuck to Instagram, but I was early to stories. So like stories were like, I'm like, wait, maybe if I turn my camera, instead of keeping it like this and I just go like this, now I have a high quality camera
Mm.
and my stories look so crisp. So I started filming my stories with a camera, and then that led to, well, this TikTok thing could be something.
Mhm.
And again, I was really early at the start, but that 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 was like the first time that I was like, I'm gonna stick to this for a long period of time.
So from that transition, because when you talked about the aspect of being broke,
Mm.
I've I resonated with it so much, and I actually am grateful for when I was, in college, no money but no debt, so I didn't feel this like something's like crashing over top of me. And the transition for me was I wasn't broke, and then I finally I'm not broke anymore. What I've noticed is I've had to my enemy, because my enemy used to just be, I don't want to fucking have to worry about if I can pay for groceries,
Mhm.
or I just don't want to worry about that piece anymore. And then once I got to there, it was a little bit like, you have to find the new enemy. You have to
Mhm.
find the new thing that you're competing against. As somebody that is basically at the top of the market, and I say that 100%, like you guys are the best company out there. How are you evolving with like finding new enemies for yourself to motivate you every single day like you were when you were making that fucking huge bet where your ass was on the line?
I mean, it's funny because like I feel like I don't even like from a business influencer standpoint, I feel like I'm at the top. Like I've worked or we're working with like the top echelon. So like I don't want to be there. I want here. Here's like Kardashians, like actual celebrities, like people like that. And not saying it's going to be like I'm editing their videos, but I want those types of people. Like, and I don't know what that takes to get that, but it's like I've been at this level for a while and I'm like, okay, this level is good for about $1 million a year with this agency. Like, what's the next step?
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like when I look at, who do I study for content? Like I don't look at business influencers content. Like, you know, I look at like Mr. Beast, Ryan Trahan, you know, Colin and Samir, like um Nelk Boys, Bradley Martin, Full Send Podcast, Joe Rogan. Like there's like levels, you know, and like I would say like the Cardones and like the Hermosies and like the Jordan Peters, like they're kind of here, but they're not mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want mainstream, so it's like I don't know how that happens, but that's like the North Star for me right now. Like I would love to just go film some short form videos with Joe Rogan or Kyle from the Nelk Boys or Theo Vaughn or Matt Rife. Like that's where I would like to be.
And that's what the driver is right now
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
you.
it's like, how do I get there? Like, what podcast do I need to be on? Like, who do I need to be around? What events do I need to go to? Because they should, nobody comes out of the woodwork like, hey, we like you. So you have to put yourself in. And that's another tip that I don't think people talk about. Like, I'm not afraid to fly myself somewhere to be around somebody. Like, and even if I don't belong there, like it gets a little bit easier as you get a following to get places. And I will say that's the perk of like it's a payoff for a good personal brand. Like you get access to things that you might not necessarily have access to prior to that, but that still never stopped me from like, I love events. I've met so many people at events, small events, big events, things like that. I don't think people go to enough of them. And I know COVID kind of put a halt on a lot of that. And I think they're starting to come back, but those are amazing. Like instead of sitting back, like I don't understand like kids these days where it's like they look at somebody like a 10x growth con like Cardone when like Kevin Hart is speaking and they're going, the guy's a fucking scam artist. I don't
Mm-hmm.
fucking. I'm like, Kevin Hart's fucking there.
Mm-hmm.
What if you just happen to bump into Kevin Hart in the bathroom and you have a 2-minute conversation with him while you're washing your hands or you're peeing? Who knows where that could lead?
The problem with people though is in this scenario, people put other people on a pedestal and it's just the truth. And so, yes, that person that said, "Oh, this is a scam," probably could have gone to that conference and might have been in the position of, "Holy shit, Kevin Hart's in this bathroom." But the next evolution of that is Kevin Hart's a person. I'm
Mhm.
not going to go, "Oh my god, it's you, it's
Yeah.
you." No, that's a person.
Yep.
And I think what you learn, and when you said I'm not afraid to fly, like one of my biggest clients that changed the face of our company
Mhm.
lived 30 minutes away from me. Couldn't get a meeting with him. Couldn't get a meeting with him. Starbucks, whatever, tried everything. I find out that he's going on a podcast in Vegas. You know, I call him. I say, told him before I got on the phone, this is going to be a 30-second conversation. I just need your okay. I'm going to fly myself to Vegas, put myself up. You don't have to worry about a thing. I just want to roll with you for the day. I'm going to film you. I'm going to give you all this value. And he goes, okay. This is a no-brainer offer. Then I got my ass to fucking Vegas when that plane ticket flipped our company upside down in terms of put us in
Yeah.
the red. It's like you make these fucking sacrifices, but everything stemmed from that, and then from there, everything has been gravy. But you have to keep doing that.
So I'll tell you a funny story. Like this is why I'm such a big believer in like being somewhere. So when I was doing the YouTube fashion business, I don't know how long ago this is now. Like I was kind of in like a prior to this, I was in like a dark place. Like I my current fiance, we had broken up. Like I was drinking a lot. We were going out. I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't
Mhm.
like it was just I was just drinking too much. I was going out a lot. Like I was blowing my money on dumb shit. And I was like, I can't do this. I gotta like, I'm way too smart for this. Let me just, figure some shit out. And that led me to like fashion and style. Like I was like, I need to reinvent myself. And that's when I, changed my wardrobe, spent a little bit of money on a lot of money on clothes, basically turned myself into a whole new person. Which then that became the YouTube fashion company, which ended up doing six figures for a few years in a row. But the lead up to that was I had like I want to say like maybe $2,000 left in my checking account with not a lot of money coming in. And there was an event, Traffic and Conversion Summit. And I hadn't seen my friend Jason Capital, who's a really good friend of mine, in a while. And he kind of stopped talking to me, like, because I could tell he didn't like where I was headed. And same thing with my friend Elliot Hulse. We're just for context, we're still really good friends to this day. But there was a period where neither one of them talked to me. And I was like, man, I really miss JC. Like, I'm a different person now. I know he's gonna be at this event, so and the whole like, so I bought a ticket to the event, which is the first time I bought a ticket. I think the ticket was like $1,000, $1,000 left in my account. I was like, okay, and this is a big event, so I knew it would be worth it. And I was like, okay, I need a hotel, so let me book a hotel for like 3 nights, and that was like two for another 600. So I think I got like $400 or $500. A little bit of money came in. I went there with like a grand, like you know, flew to San Diego, get there, first night, I run into JC, we rekindle. He's like, dude, you look great. Like, we talked and he's like, we're gonna go out tonight. I'm doing this thing. So, I went out with him and like some of his people. And then we're all kind of drunk at this like diner. He's like, we're gonna take a private jet and go to Vegas tomorrow. You're going. I'm like, oh, I'm like, sure, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm like, then the other guy was like, I'll get the bungalow suite at the Marquee. We'll do a pool party. I'll get the bungalow suite. And I was like, oh, cool. I thought they were all just drunk. Like, this isn't gonna happen. Like, I go to bed, wake up the next day, show up. I got like my backpack on. I'm like ready to take notes at the event. They're standing there waiting for me. They're like, dude, where's your bag? We're going to Vegas. I was like, you guys are fucking serious? They're like, yes. Where's your bag? I was like, well, I got to go back and get it. It's at the hotel. They're like, go. Like, okay. I'm like, okay. I was like, so I call my dad on the way, like going back to get my bag. And I'm like, Dad, JC, like they want to take a private jet and go to Vegas. Like, but I paid for this event. And like, do you think I should go? He said, you don't say no to a private jet, son. And I was like, good advice, Dad. I'll let you know how this pans out. Get my bag, boom, we go to Vegas, have an amazing time. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't have any money. Like, I got like $500. Like, and now I have to change my flight and buy a flight home from Vegas. Like, so I'm basically really broke. And he's like, you're not, we'll take care of it. It's not a big deal. I'm like, appreciate that. But like, I think it was the second day where me and JC were drunk. We left the pool party. We went and ate like a brunch or like an early dinner, maybe at Holstein's Deli at the Cosmo. And it was that 1 hour lunch that we both mapped out Handsome Guy Secrets, flew home from that event. 51 Handsome Guy Secrets was a product. I filmed it the following week. I launched it a couple of days later. He did help. He wanted to be a part of it. But that conversation, our friendship, led to, I mean, we made like $60,000 in like 2 months.
Mhm.
Completely changed the course of my life. And it was because had I stayed at that event, maybe something good would have happened. I don't know. But I completely just torched all that and went on a jet to Vegas with zero money. You don't go to Vegas with like less than $500 in your bank account. Like if you do, I want to talk to you because you're a badass.
Mhm.
Like that's like you're very uncomfortable in Vegas when you're that broke. Like you can't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Like the wrong club and all your money's gone.
The wrong smoothie shop,
Yeah.
all your money's gone.
you know. So that was like one of those instances where I was like, it paid off for me to do that.
Mhm.
Like, so I've always that was always a personality. Like, even when I was a BMX racer, like, I would just fly to where the pros were.
Mm.
All of a sudden, people thought I was a pro.
Well, going back to the point where you had to reinvent yourself, I think it's really I always like am interested by like that rock bottom because I've been there and there's this level of accepting mediocrity and accepting bad things that consistently happen. And it's funny because, like, at least when I was in that position, it was always like, this has nothing to do with me. Like, what's wrong with me? It's about everything. this whole exterior that's going on around me. What did it take for you to go from I'm going to reinvent myself, or like the thought of I want to change, I hate this way my life is going, I hate the trajectory that I'm on, to then actually changing who you were? Because we know social media, there's a lot of like previous us's that are just out there just aimlessly going through the fucking world.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of the hardest parts of that being there is looking up at how far the proverbial mountaintop is and how to fucking get there. They don't know how to start. Like, what was that start like for you?
Well, I had accomplished some pretty cool things, but prior to that moment, like, and I'll never forget it. I was renting a house. Like my friend Danny was renting a house. We're still friends to this day. He's one of my best friends, and it was kind of a shitty house. Wasn't great, but it was all I had when me and my fiance broke up. And I literally did have an air mattress. I didn't have any furniture because when you break up with somebody you live with, the guy always loses all the furniture.
Always.
So I didn't have anything. I just had clothes, like my bike and like an air mattress. And to be fair, I didn't really care, but I was like, I was going out and I was still going to some of the same places. And I was like, this got me here, you know? And it wasn't like that was bad. It was just like, how do I get here? And what is here? And like, what does that person look like? And like, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I don't look like that person. Like, and I mean, I had like, I shedded, like I call it shedding, it's like I shedded like my past athlete vibe. Like up until that point, I was a pro athlete. I was making my internet slightly unethically, like selling stuff I didn't really believe in, you know, nothing illegal, but like, it was unethical. Like there was better ways to make money and I was choosing to do this shit that was like sketchy.
Mm.
And but I looked at myself and I'm like, I'm really fucking intelligent. Do I look intelligent how I'm dressed right now? And I was like, no. I look like I'm gonna rob somebody? That's how I looked. And I had like a skater haircut. I had like, like I would wear like skinny jeans with like, like sleeveless shirts. And like I still wear a lot of that today, but how I carried myself then is nowhere near like how I carried myself today. And it was literally that look. I'm like, do I look like a guy that's gonna be rich? And I said, and I was like, no. What does that guy look like? And that's who I went and found. And I think people don't have those critical conversations with themselves. And it's okay to like, you can disagree with yourself too. It's like, well, I do kind of look cool. So, okay, well, maybe we'll hold on to this for a little bit, but maybe I should change this.
Mm.
And I also think it stems from like friends, like whoever, it's like who your social circle is, like how successful are they, and I'm not saying all your friends. I think people need to compartmentalize their friends. You need your friends that are super ultra motivated to be successful, but there's nothing wrong with your friends that you just want to go out and get drunk with and have fun.
Mm.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with like your past friends from like high school and college. I don't see why people are like, I got to cut everybody. It's like, I don't really see it just, but the conversations I have change with who I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I didn't have that upper group, but I also didn't know where to find them either. And I had to go looking. And I found them at, cigar lounges, higher end nightclubs and bars, 5-star hotels, and I say find them, it means I just had enough conversations with people that were clearly making more money than I was that I ended up becoming that type of person. And like, there's nothing, and nobody that would stand out, but people carry themselves differently. If you have a nice car, you stay in nice hotels, you frequent fancy bars, chances are you're not a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You do that on a long enough time frame. Like time just outs everybody. I've always been like, Ty Lopez is like the OG of the internet. He's the first guy like, here in my garage, my
Mm-hmm.
Lamborghini. Everyone's like, Lamborghini's rented. It's fake. If you followed Ty long enough, you saw they had the Lamborghini for over a year. So unless he spent $2,000 a day for a year, the motherfucker owned the Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like time will also, so I try not to judge things too quickly. I like to see how people play out like over time, and that's served me pretty well.
It's there's so many different points that I could go down there. Where I wanted to dial in was this idea of the fraud at the whole fucking internet. Like it is so easy to find these frauds, like literally nonstop. And I feel bad because there's a lot of people that are know human psychology that can put out a video and make somebody feel that fear of missing out to then make a purchasing decision that they didn't know that they needed or they actually wanted. How do you differentiate? And like you've seen the whole business influencer scene,
Mhm.
and there's good ones, there's bad ones, there's people that get hated on for being bad ones, and then there's the actual like people that are just pieces of shit. Like, how has that like how have you been introduced to that? And like, do you have a good radar and like a good read where you're like, that person's a piece of shit for sure?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a radar. I mean, I've worked with a lot. I work with a lot of people that are, I mean, right now getting blasted on the internet for being, and I mean, I'm not, it's Chris Crone and Grant Cardone.
Mm,
Like they're constantly under scrutiny. I've hung out with both of them. I don't think they're bad people. I think they have everybody's best intentions. There's nothing wrong that they charge for what they do. Like, and in like somebody like in a Cardone's instance, it's like, he's been sued multiple times and he's won every time. Like, how many times is a guy going to get sued before? If he actually did something, you would assume the legal system would flush it out by now.
hmm
But no, these people still keep coming at him. Like, still, like, I mean, and now there's accounts that are glorified for taking people down, which is fine. Like, I mean, there's like Baller Busters, CoffeeZilla. Like, I think those accounts are needed. But at some point, like, do you just not like this person? Like, and is that why? Like, because, when you've won multiple lawsuits and like you're clearly not a criminal, like, why do you keep spreading it that you are? Instead, you should just make a fucking video, say, hey, he had a lot of these patterns and this is what happened. Like, but you don't see that. It just goes like, and the same thing with like, I mean, Crone. The funny, I'm in a lot of those videos that are just getting destroyed. Like my face and like like
Yeah.
I'm tagged and I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that guy. I don't know, man. Like, but people just, you have to say it's like a catch 22 because to get attention, you have to say shit obnoxiously. You have to say shit that's out of hand. You have to get attention, and I don't make the rules. That's just how society is. I could say, you know, I wake up every day at 6, or I could say I don't fucking sleep.
hmm
Like, one hits harder than the other, and I need that to hit so you listen to me for the rest of the video. So I think that some people do take that too far, but at the end of the day, like, I think we're in a rise of like untrustworthiness on the internet. And I think it stems from the younger demographic making videos and like putting out products and doing things that aren't necessarily bad products. But it's like, dude, you are 20.
Oh my fucking god.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't know shit.
hmm
Like, and you might know a lot, but you don't know shit about life yet. Like, you there's just a whole like gamut of them that is on the rise right now.
But what you said is so important. Time is undefucking-feated. Every successful person that I have met, it took fucking time. So like all of a sudden, it was funny. I was at the Aspire tour 2 weeks ago, and we're standing there, and I forget who said it, but somebody goes, "There's a lot of 8-figure earners in this room right now," and it's like to really get to that level. And some people hit it quick, and like yeah, there's that outside group that the zucks that get fucking stupid rich at 23 years old or whatever. But in the reality, time is fucking undefeated, and a lot of these people have just been working for years and years. But now we're in this age of social media where it's like, what can you show me right now? What I'm interested to get like out of like this conversation is let's say I am a 20-year-old.
Mhm.
Let's say I do want to create content on social media. How do I like how do you not get caught up in that trap of like I make 6 figures from e-com like and you know what I mean like selling that bullshit? Like how would you direct somebody if you had them?
I mean, it's tough because I think that's the answer is like who I was at 20 is probably the same as them. Like
Mhm.
like when I talk about doing like unethical things to make money, like I used to buy domain names. Like, I mean, this is an extreme example of some shit I did. Twitter was brand new. And I was like, oh, just like domain names, people are going to want their Twitter handle.
Mm.
So I go, okay, who's dumb enough to pay me money for Twitter handles? So I went to Brazzers.com and I looked at all the porn stars on the site at the time, and I registered every single one of their Twitter name because if you're getting naked, if you're having sex for money, maybe you don't have the most smarts. So I'm like, they'll probably pay me $500 for their Twitter handle if they really want it. Sure enough, a lot of them did, you know, and that was a hustle. like, and, so like, wasn't illegal. I just registered it before them. And I
Mhm.
said, you could take it. And a lot of them did. And I didn't even hide from it. I was just like, it's like, if you're interested in this name, email me. And I just set up an email and that was it.
Mhm.
Like, the funny thing was, is like the passwords was just their name. Like they didn't even,
They didn't even have to
they
do
didn't even have to
anything.
think. But like, so like, I don't know if I was any different than them back then, but I do think there's a thing now of, how big can I get? Like the young entrepreneur, the one that seemingly has it all together. And I think they should make content. I think they should strive for that. But it's like, just understand that you're 20. Like, so, I mean, there was a perfect example. I went to a client Ascension. They're a group of guys. They're awesome guys. They have a podcast. They had a really big event, and it had like 100 people at it. It was not too long ago in Tampa, and like I was having a conversation with myself and Eddie Malouf. Who Eddie
Mm.
Malouf just merged with Ashton Shanks, and they have basically on the way to like $100 million agency, like massive money.
Mhm.
Like I'm like I've paid Eddie multiple times to be on the phone with him. I paid him $3,000. We're now friends. I still pay him to get on the phone with him if I need those types of questions answered. Like if we're gonna talk about what some random shit, no, he's not charging me for that. But like I take his time and serious, you know. We're out there talking. Another group of younger guys come up. I'm not gonna mention names because they're really intelligent. But and Eddie was like, "Oh, like how's your, how much is your business doing?" Like, and the kid was like, "Enough." And I'm like, and I stopped him. I was like, dude, you can say an actual number because I can guarantee you it's not going to fucking impress him. I said,
Mm.
and it's also not, I said, he's going to give you really good advice. So by lying or just being kind of, because he said it kind of arrogantly, you look like a dick to a guy you shouldn't look like a dick to. And he did end up saying what it was, and it was impressive. I said, if that's the truth, you should fucking say that.
Mm.
And I think that's the thing too is like the younger demographic, especially with Instagram, it's like a culture. They they want to flex. They want to show that they're cooler than the next person. And if that is the truth, then by all means show it off. Like there's nothing wrong with saying you got a Lamborghini. Show that bitch every day. And every fucking first of the month, show making that payment.
Mhm.
If you don't own a Lamborghini, don't talk about having a Lamborghini. And I think that that's what people fall into. Like they only show the one time they go to Nobu. And that's fine. Show it. But also show the 17 times you're eating at McDonald's.
Brandon Carter is my favorite example of this. That dude is so consistent in terms of like just showing you the fucking lifestyle that you like it's the proof aspect of it. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people get caught up, and it's funny, I think I'd like your opinion on this. I think the market is getting smarter.
Mhm.
So like the consumers are getting smarter and they can kind of call this shit out quicker than they
Absolutely.
used to be able to. How that translates to content, my assumption would be interested to see what you think on it. I think we're moving into a world where like short form into long or long form into short form has always been the game,
Mhm.
but people want to go deep with
Mhm.
people. The more time they can spend with a person on social media, because I think everybody innately is just like trying to figure out if it's fucking real or not.
Yep.
Like, and it's just what, how do you view that now that, understanding that in your short form world, like how do you view the fact that more people are getting more and more skeptical and you need to convince people that you're not a piece of shit half the time
Are
or that
they
you're not lying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just proof. It's like one of the things that I kind of live by in the company, even when the people we work for, is like, unless you can prove it, like, let's not talk about it.
Mm.
Like, and how do we prove it? Like, and I ask a lot of people how much money they make. And I mean, last week I had a video go viral asking Grant Cardone how much money's in his bank account. Like, and he showed me. I couldn't put the screenshot on the screen because this is the type of guy that could get hacked. Like there's like ramifications for this proof,
Hmm.
but in most instances, like even me, like I start every vlog with exactly how much money I've made with a screenshot. And yeah, could I Photoshop that? Yes. Am I? No. Like, I don't have that much time. I don't want to
Mhm.
fucking do that. Like, I don't even like saying how much money I make because it causes all these fucking problems in my life.
Mm.
Like, but how, if somebody wants my help to grow their agency, how can I make somebody want to, or like, well, in essence of like me doing vlogs, this is where I think kind of goes into what you're saying. It's like short form is like reach. Like, you got to be out there, be everywhere. And people should be skeptical on short form.
Always.
And if you like somebody, then go search them out, find their long form. And if they don't have long form, that I'm not going to say that's like, because I didn't for the longest time. I just put out a lot of short. Like, you'll probably, if they're successful, you're going to find them on podcasts. Listen to their podcasts. Like, they don't have to be their podcast, but like if you search Ryan McGinn podcast, there's like 50 that come up.
Mm.
I've been doing podcasts for like 2 years. Like, I just don't have my own.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like search them out and then you be the judge. And like it's also like look at their first one and look at their most recent one. What's different? Like, mine are pretty similar. Like, I say a lot of the same shit. So I think that there is a proof component, and you can prove just by living your life. Like, that's why like I am inherently like fascinated with vlogging. Not to the level of like a Casey Neistat, but I like what like Sam Sulek, like I know he like
Mm.
I don't like those ugly videos. I'm never gonna have videos that ugly. Shout out to Sam for doing that.
Yes.
Like, I
It's
need
fucking
more editing in my life. I need to make myself look a little better than that.
Yeah.
But inherently, not everybody like can be interesting on a vlog. And that's where people need to be honest with themselves. Like, everyone's like, oh, Sam, like I see a lot of people now just doing these hour-long videos of nothing, like Sam Sulek. And I'm like, first off, you're not, I think he's 19. The dude is a genetic freak. He's steroided out of his head. He's lifting heavy weights. He's charismatic. He's got a dry sense of humor, and he's easy to listen to. If you don't have any of those skill sets, you're already at a disadvantage. Like, it's hard to compete with Sam.
Mhm.
So it's like you have to look at your life from an aspect of like, is my life even good for content? Like, and that's a true question.
Dude, I love that so much because I think I look at content creation, especially being 20. Like, I just had one of my buddies, Joey Muccio, on the podcast, and like we were talking about it, and it's like it's not easy when you don't like you have like I'm 3 years into my 10-year run to be worth a fuck to be able to like talk about it in
Mhm.
the level that Brandon whatever. That's a long road. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to procrastinate the brand.
No, you can't,
You can't.
and you shouldn't.
But uniqueness,
Mhm.
you have to be willing to be a unique fucking human being. And this is the part that blows my mind for my own life. The more I posted on content on social media, it's just facts. The
Mhm.
more likely I am to do uncomfortable shit and do shit that other people would not be willing to do in order to live a life that I believe is like I do it for myself, obviously, but from a social media side of things, it's like yeah, you can't fucking fake this shit.
Mm.
If I go run a 36-mile race, you can't fake that shit. Like I did that and
Yep.
I have the proof and now I have a story to tell from this. Everybody wants to skip the whole like going through the bullshit part of it and they just want to talk about a story. Truth is, people are going to sniff that out cuz people that got real stories, man, they can
Yep.
tell that shit like nobody's business. You know
That
what I mean?
that's so true, and it's like, I mean, we talk about like even this is like my radar for clients too.
Mm.
Like, my barometer for getting a client means that you can afford $10,000 a month, which right there, very small amount of people.
So
Like,
on video
yeah,
services.
just on video services, short form.
Mhm.
Like, so for that to even be a thing, we've just found that all of them make more than $100,000 a month, many of which make way more than that. Like, and that's like kind of the cutoff. So like, if I ask somebody, do you make $100,000 a month? And they say yes, I'm like, okay, now I'm entertained. Now we can talk. And then it's still not even a go because I have a lot of people that want to pay me $10,000 a month, and I'm like, dude, like I can't make you go viral.
Mm.
Like, I'm really good statistically. If we work together long enough, you will. But like, I know if you're paying me $10,000, you expect something. Like, and I'm not blind to that. And I feel like most maybe agency owners or editors are like, you expect me to help you get something, and that something is more money, and the more money comes from more views. So, you know, it's your job to convert the money because I don't fuck with that, but it's my job to help you get the views you need. And that's where like, you know, I look at somebody, I go, what is unique? Like, what facets do you have to give views? You look at somebody like Brandon Carter, like break him down. He's a really good looking dude. He's rich. He's got $1 million plus closet. He's shredded as fuck. He's jacked. He lives in a Miami penthouse. He flies first class. Like he doesn't eat on actual plates. He has so many checklists of things that make him unique and worthy of standing out. And he has stories and he can charismatically deliver them. And you look at somebody like a Cardone, private jet, helicopter, big house, wife, multiple kids, hundreds of employees. Like, I mean, it's a checklist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everybody has this checklist. Some is much longer, and if yours is short, it probably means you're 20. Like,
yeah. It's so true.
And I mean, that's not saying that that's bad. It's just you haven't had enough time yet. Like, my story sounds cool. It's like, used to be pro BMX racer, created a DVD to help BMXers get faster, started selling money online, started creating fake websites to convert celebrity traffic, ran porn stars' Twitter handles, created a YouTube channel to help men dress better to get laid, started doing vertical vlogs, but nobody cared. It's like, I'm 40.
Yep. Time.
Like, now it's like, I got a fiance, I got a kid. Like, I've had my house destroyed. Like, I have stories. I have life, and that's not saying you can condense. Like, some people do a lot in a year, whereas like it might take 5 for somebody else, and that's that's unique to each individual. Like, Sabrina Cardone is probably one of the most fascinating kids I've ever met. Like, that the life experience of that 14-year-old, insane.
Trump's like most 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like the truth. Like,
so that I think that's, but again, it comes down to like, is your life worthy of content? And you can make it worthy. And I think that that's okay. I think, there's some confusion when like somebody like Gary Vee says, document, don't create. It's like, okay, like fundamentally, that's a great piece of advice. Like, you become your content. Well, it's like, what if you aren't interesting? And a lot of people, like, life is boring for 90% of the time. Like, I'm doing a weekly vlog right now, and I'm trying to like film myself every week. I'm like, okay, what am I doing this week that's worthy to even be filmed? Like, and a lot of it gets cut. Like, I mean, I want to show some things I put into because my daughter did a cheer competition. She's like, Dad, I want to be in the vlog. And I'm like, okay, like, I know that nobody gives a fuck about my daughter's cheer competition. Like, I know it.
Yeah.
Like, they're there for one thing, but it's like, so I get creative. Where can I put this to make people keep watching? But it's like, those things are like, in my life, like, I look at, here's an example of like this week's vlog. What's more interesting? Like, I'm breaking down a viral video, which, a Grant Cardone video that got 1 million views. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it, why I did it. Boom. My house got destroyed for the second time in a hurricane, and I documented pretty much the whole thing. My daughter had a cheer competition. I did a podcast. I did a team call. I fired an employee. What else? I think that's it. I think that's all I had. Oh, and I bought a new pair of Nikes. Like, so that's 7 things that will comprise a 10-minute vlog that I'm going to edit tomorrow to post on probably Wednesday that shows last week. Like, of that, like, some of it's interesting, some of it isn't. It's my life, but I like to think, and I'm doing a lot of cool stuff. Like,
way more than most people.
More than most people. Like, so if all I did was, I had a 9 to 5, I'm doing this YouTube side hustle or Instagram or TikTok. I went to the mall. I had dinner with my mom.
Just doesn't work.
That's not an interest. Like, you have to, force yourself to create these things.
You have to go, like, if you, I look at it, it's like, I look at, I want to build a brand on social media. I have to go now pursue, like, and not that I wouldn't otherwise, but like, you have to put yourself in a position to do things where you fail and where you try things and where this is like super uncomfortable, but you did it anyways. It's like, those are the reps. And it's a great, honestly, it's a great, like, if you just live your life like that, like, you're going to live a pretty fucking awesome life. It's like Jesse Itzler talks about that. Like, plan your perfect year, like really try to execute on that. And people could live an interesting life and have a lot of interesting stories if they just put in the time to actually do it. But it's not easy.
No, it's not. And then, and it can get carried away too. Like you look at somebody like a Logan Paul, like it. I mean, I don't necessarily think I'm like a huge Logan Paul fan. I respect a lot of what he's done. I don't watch him. Like occasionally I'll check some the impulsive clips if he's got an interesting guest. But like somebody like Logan Paul, his vlogs got so extreme that it led him to filming a suicide. And the sad part is he probably didn't realize that that was extreme, but that's the barometer that he was living. And here's the fucked up thing: was it Logan's fault or was it the people that kept fucking watching?
Mm.
Like, here's such a blur. And this is like, you asked me the question, like when we started this, podcast was like, what's one thing I see? It's like people don't want the wholesome shit. Like they're probably watching Sam Sulek because they think he's gonna die from steroid abuse. Like they're not watching. I mean, yes, there's a large percentage that are watching him because he's inspiring and he's cool and he's motivating. But let's be real. Like if you look at Sam Sulek and you're not jacked, you're insecure. And now you know he's rich because he's fucking crushing YouTube ad revenue.
Hmm.
And he signed a huge supplement deal. So if you're watching him, you're like, it's like most people watch you because they want you to fail. Like, and that's like you have to accept that. Like, you have to know going into this shit that's like, well, this is the game, and it is a game. Like, social media as a job is still a job. So
Do you think that people put more, like, how do you look at how much you sell like, how much of yourself do you sell to social media? Because I think that there's a lot of things that people can talk about. Some people will go to the extra lengths of talking about shit that's like they would have never done if it weren't for like views in certain cases.
mm,
Like, how do you view that from your client's perspective and what they share on social media? And then how do you look at it yourself, being somebody that vlogs like your life?
I wouldn't consider myself a vlogger yet. It's a goal of mine to get my YouTube channel to 100K because it's my weakest platform. But being that now I'm actively contemplating what am I going to film in my week, and I do a week in the life. I'm not cool enough to do a day in the life.
Mm-mm.
Like I need more shit to pick from,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and also too, I only want to post once a week because I don't have the bandwidth for more than that. So when it came to that, like, what am I doing for you? Like, I stopped at Dick's Sporting Goods on the way, and I bought this shirt because the one I was wearing wasn't bright enough for the fucking podcast. Like, I'm like, I need a better shirt because I woke up today. I was in a hurry. My house got flooded this weekend. I forgot we had a podcast. Like, it was in my calendar, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, I got the podcast at 1:30. Like, I was like, okay, I can camp my team. So point being, it's Brandon Carter calls it the art of flexing. Like, there is an art to flexing your life, and no, the more you flex, there are repercussions. Like you start showing how much money you make, although it's factual. Like I think today I'm going to film the intro to my vlog. I think it's at $2.35 million, and I'm doing that on purpose because if you watch the first vlog, it was 2.31. The second vlog was 2.33. This one's gonna be 2.34. So if you watch me long enough, you're gonna watch my income go up. It's proof.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's making money doing exactly what he said he's doing. And I have to start every vlog with the most arrogant fucking thing ever. I've made $2.35 million because I know if YouTube shows my vlog or the video in this case to random people that don't know who I am, I have two things that make me cool to the average public. I've made millions of dollars and I can get millions of views. Which one is more general though? It's not getting views because not everybody wants to create videos. So to get a large amount of views on my audience, I have to reach the general population. Money. So that's now I'm there.
Mm.
When I started, and this happened prior because I started sharing my income on social media because I was proving that my agency was better than most agencies
Which you have
because
to do.
because I have to do that, you know. And like 2 days later, my mom asked me for money.
Mm.
Like my dad's still trying to work for me. Love my dad. Like friends have asked me for money. People assume things. Like you can't start a GoFundMe if people think on the internet you make millions of dollars. You're not a human anymore. You know, I mean, to context, I did not start the GoFundMe. It started for me. But you're not a human if you make millions of dollars. You're not a human if you drive a Ferrari. Like you're a rich person, and that has connotations. People are afraid to talk to you. People say things, people assume things. And the more you push out, you will get more trust back. And that's the thing. Like it's like, and I've seen this with Brandon better than anybody else. It's one of the reasons he's kind of convinced me like I need to talk about this stuff. You know, the more you show, it is true. And when that's your reality, it's like you don't really get the hate, but then you start getting the jealousy, you know, and it's like, okay, well, you know, I mean, so it's hard to say. Like, I just think that I live by a rule. Like, it's if it's true, I'll show it. Like, but it's like last week, like I fired somebody. Like he was my friend. Like we became friends. I knew him before I hired him. Like, I didn't want to fire him, but I'm like, do I put that in the vlog? That happened. That was a Thursday for me. Like he was making on average $5,000 a month. That's his income. He doesn't have another one right now. He was not doing good for the company. I had to do this. I had to make the decision. And then right after that, I went on a podcast. Like with the same energy like we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Today I've had a very light day. It's been a great day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like so it's like it's hard to answer. Like it's hard for me to answer that, but no scenario where I've not seen everybody that I've worked with probably flexes harder than anybody on the internet, and it's only benefited them.
Mm.
Like it doesn't benefit you to be humble anymore.
Interesting. That's
Like,
a statement.
I think you should be humble in person, but you have to be, and I don't want to say arrogant because that's the wrong word. Is you have to be overly confident on social media because people can sense that. And what are you most confident about? The shit in your life that's true. Like if I can't say that my agency has made $2.35 million, like what the fuck's the point of it even doing that then? Like it does. It's factual. Like, it doesn't state on that screenshot though that I spend like $60,000 to $70,000 a month in expenses.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had to learn how to spend. That's another thing too. Like, how do you prove you make a lot of money? How much money you spend?
Can't
Like,
fake that shit.
like I have a team of 14, four of which are four of which are like more freelance based. 10 of them are full-time contractors. I haven't made the switch to W-2 because that's another thing. Like when I turn everybody to W-2, I'm going to flex the shit out of that. Like they got health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the average person has no idea what the fuck that costs. And it's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Like, you know, so it's like we live in this age though. It's like, I'm like, if it's actually true, talk about it. You're only doing a disservice to yourself. Like, and that's hard though. Cause it's also, you know, if like I sign up to be on the internet and get made fun of and get shit talked and, you know, in the essence of like my daughter and my fiance, I can't really have a vlog if they're not in it. Like that is my life. I'm cool. Like maybe to the outside person, like 4 or 5 days a month. Like if usually I'm traveling somewhere to film with somebody cool or like there's something going on. Other than that, like I go home, I cook dinner, like we meal prep, like I take my kid to school at 6:50 in the morning and I hate it. Like we eat Einstein bagels sometimes, we go to Starbucks. Like that's every day for me. But even that, like I buy Starbucks like 7 days a week every morning for my kid. Spend $10, $70 a week on fucking Starbucks. Like, is that a flex or that's just what I do? I don't know. Like, she likes the chocolate milk, and like I try to convince her to go away from the cake pop and get a fucking bagel here and there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it is very hard, I think, and it's getting harder because the more you flex, the more proof. But it's not like one flex.
It's 1,000.
It's a cumulative effort of flexing for like years,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where somebody like Brandon excels. You know, and he talks about it. It's like, we did a video about it. Like, I don't know if it ever got posted though, because he's not too keen on like, but he's like, I don't have the shut off. Like, I forget that people care about shit like that.
Hmm.
Like, and that's kind of how you have to live. Like, you do get jaded. I think the internet makes people jaded. Like, it makes people like, you know, you live very one dimensionally, like at certain instances. Like, it's hard to shut that off.
It's hard to not look at the world like it's a fucked up place when
Yeah.
when you see all that.
It's attention everywhere I go. Like, you know, every time I sit in first class, I'm like, do I vlog this? Do I take a picture for my story? Like, because the only reason I'm saying I didn't buy it in a lot of cases, I just got it because I have air status. How'd you get status? Well, I flew 100,000 miles. Why'd you fly 100,000 miles? I work with pretty cool clients. I film a lot of videos. Like, but the byproduct of that is like I'm away from my family because it was like, well, just bring them with you. It's like I film for like 10 hours a day. The fuck am I gonna bring my kid and my fiance for? So they can sit in the hotel room without me, or they can go enjoy shit without me? Like, I guess I could do that. But then at night, I'm like, the client usually wants to get dinner. So I still can't really spend time with my family. And then I'm going home the next day. So it's like there's all these, like, I don't know. I got a little off tangent there, but
No,
it's
it's
definitely
what you're doing, and this is why I appreciate you so much. Two things, and we're wrapping up here, but the your ability to we had this conversation last year. My biggest pet peeve right now in our industry is mass marketing for people doing things like video editing or they're like it's blows my mind when people are like, I can organically grow your page. But this is an ad. Like, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, why? But that was something you told me. And we've changed our business. Like, our whole thing is now like grow through fucking referrals.
Mhm.
Because if you're growing through referrals, guess what? You're doing something fucking right. And then show up and then be in the room. And then like it's all these things that have nothing to do with what is your fucking return on ad spend for like, your content company. But I think people look now at content agencies as cash cows because
yes.
the margins are great.
I
That
don't
is true.
experience great margins. I don't have those.
But like our company,
Yeah.
totally open to say it, we're at 87% burn. Why is that? Because we're trying to put out a good fucking product and it's
Mhm.
not fucking easy. It's
No.
not easy at all. You
No.
need talented people. And it's like, I look at people that just mass market this nonsense and I'm like, that I don't even get envious or like, I hate that person. I'm just like, I don't think that's gonna work, like,
No.
long term. How
No, I feel you on that. Like, there's the content agency. Like, well, there's actually. I mean, I think there's two problems that have happened. There's the people that see it as a cash cow, which they do, smart business people, and I'm not saying they're not intelligent because it is a. I don't think it is anymore. I think it was a cash cow. Now I think we're going to see a lot of those people get weeded out with bad products.
Mhm,
So if that's you and you're listening to this, you might want to sacrifice those margins and get some good editors.
mhm.
But there's also the editor problem. And the editor problem is bigger than the fucking cash cow problem. The editor problem is a bunch of fucking people that grabbed a laptop and taught themselves captions during COVID. And now they charge you $5 to $10 a video to caption your video and they call themselves video editors. It's not a fucking video editor. Like a video editor is somebody that can manufacture a story. Like I am grateful to say that I have 9 of them on my team. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I fuck up. But statistically over like they're some of the best in the world at, short form content. They've worked with me for like 2 years. I have probably I mean, I've not hired probably 150 editors that I've seen videos from them and I was like, "Oh, fuck, you suck."
Mhm.
Like, and I wish I could record it. That's why I saw the shit I do. I was like, man, I should have fucking recorded that. Because it's like, I'm not going to say names and bash, but I was like, there is an industry problem for video editors that is at a scale unlike anything anybody's ever seen. Because Joe, the business owner, goes, I need to get content. Sees a content agency ad pop up, goes, this sounds good. Content agency goes, dude, we charge $1,000 a month. We do 30 videos a month, man. We got you covered. We're going to grow. Yeah. Joe, the business owner, goes, cool. They're like, well, we need to do 90 days up front. So it's like, so they pay 3K. Joe, the business owner's like, still, it's a good deal for me. Like, he's like, I need this content. Edits start. Like, then they're like, all right, man. So whenever you send the videos, we'll get started. Joe, the business owner, goes, I don't, what do you mean video? How do I do this? I don't know. Like, oh, well, you need to, yeah, we'll send you a topics and scripts. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, we charge a little more for that. Okay, cool. What is it like? Oh, we charge an extra $500 a month. All right. Well, yeah, I need that help, man. So I'm just gonna go ahead and send you another $1,500. All right, yeah. Here's the topics and scripts. Joe, the business owner, he might do an okay job. He might go off topic. Now he sends the raw files back, sends them to the editing team. Editor guy goes, oh, cool. All right. Sends it off to the Philippines. My experience with Philippines is fucking terrible. I hate Filipino video editors. I'm sorry if you are one. I've tried a bunch of you and it's not worked.
No.
Why do they have so many fucking typhoons? Like, and
That's some shit you only know if you really
yes,
truly fucking know.
and internet, your
Yeah.
job. Anyways, I digress. So Joe, the video editor, goes goes sends the videos. They whip it up. They're awful because you have a very bare English speaking Filipino with absolutely no context of American culture who doesn't give two shits about Joe, the business owner's coffee shop. And then they fucking the guy goes, "Hey, we got those videos ready for you, Joe, the business owner. We went ahead and sent them to you." And Joe's like, "All right, cool." And then he's like, "Oh well, I don't really have. Can you post these for me?" Then Joe, then the cash out editor guy goes, "Yeah, man, we can do that. It's an extra $250 a month." Joe, the business was like, "All right, cool. Like, yeah, I'll go there. So send them another $750 for 90 days." Then they put it into a scheduling app, which they know doesn't fucking work. It's going to kill all their views. Joe, the business owner, tanks his Instagram account over the next 90 days, fires the editing company. Now, this is a cycle that will continue. And eventually only fucking good people will be left, which is exciting for me and yourself. Like, I'm excited. Please keep doing that because I'm going to be like, no, at minimum, we charge like $5K a month. We come film with you or we send somebody to film with you. They're actual, I have American editors that oversee everything. I do have a few outsourced editors per se. They're treated like full-time employees. Like they only edit for me. They're paid a lot. They're probably rich because they're paid in like 3, 4,000, $5,000 a month USD.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've just never saved money on cheap edits, and people want to know like, and I say this, they're like, if you want to edit for somebody like a Brandon Carter, like a Grant Cardone, a Jordan Peterson, a fucking, a Ben Shapiro, whoever, your edits should look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't $5 edits. Right.
Nobody wants to do the hard part of it though. And it's just the grind of doing the amount of volume that you've done. And it's interesting when you look at the world that we live in with video editing now, because it's like, it's a cash cow right now for people, but we're going to get to a point where AI is going to knock a lot of this bullshit out. And only the guys that have the relationships, that grew the right way, that don't have a shitty product, that they like, know, and trust because they have a brand that they spent 10 years investing in. Those are going to be the people that are around. And even if your services have now they've been pretty much replaced by AI, people still want to work with people at the end of the day, and they're going to feel more safer. They're going to feel safer with you on their team then.
Well, the thing about AI that and I do this all the time on my story. I'm like, anybody, send me a clip that somebody has used Opus.ai or GetMunch or any of these viral clip finders. Show me one with a screenshot with 1 million views, and I'll shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I probably need to see 10 before I shut up. Because like just one, statistically, clock's right twice a day with a dead battery. So it's like you do enough over time, you're gonna hit one. Like it's like Vegas. Eventually you do win. So but statistically, I'm just like, these services don't work. Like they're getting better. Like the caption services, they're getting those really good. Like, but that from an AI standpoint is like it's a transcription service. Like to have to take like a 3-hour long podcast of like a Rogan and then just run it through AI and it knows where those viral moments are. Like for one, there might not be a viral moment in it. Like, because I don't know how I know AI is like it's very sophisticated, but it's like when you see somebody's face in a video and their tonality increases and they get like serious or they sit forward, AI doesn't know that they're leaning forward. Like their voice does get louder, but the tonality in their speaking, their mannerisms, the excitement, like that's a good hook. If somebody's tonality is high and they're excited about something, that should be at the front.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's gonna get somebody to stop. I don't know if AI knows that. Like, and I don't. They definitely won't know it anytime soon.
And I mean, it's all a time thing. You'll be around long enough that it's just not
Yeah,
gonna fucking matter when they do come. And you're also gonna be the guy that gets hit up because your personal brand is about what you do. The guy that just so happened in his basement to make the AI model that is now going to make all clippers and all editors obsolete. And he's probably going to come to you first and be like, hey, I got this thing that I'm trying out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I want to like trust me. Like, if I could not pay a single video editor ever again, sign me up.
Hmm.
I would do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to video editors, but like creative people are hard to deal with. Like burnout is real. Like humans get burnout. Like AI doesn't. So like that means I can put out more videos at a more consistent pace if my employee didn't get burnt out. Like I am all for the automation. Like, but I'm not at the expense of like a good product.
Hmm.
Like a good product to me is like that's my reputation. Like if somebody looks at like a Brandon video and it sucks, it's a direct reflection of me, and that's how like again, I know I mentioned it earlier, like I don't think when an editor is editing a video, especially for a bigger client, if that video does well, the video is getting 1 million views. Like I don't think people wrap their head around what that means. Like that means 1 million people listen to that person talk. 1 million people judge that person. 1 million people have an opinion of that person now. like,
It's a city.
like it's huge. Like, and the editors are just like, they misspell things or they put the wrong images in or they like do all this dumbass shit. It's just like, dude, if this video got 1 million views, do you think this is a good representation of this person? Like, they've done it to me. My team has done it to me. They've made mistakes. I don't fire them for that. I'm like, hey guys, look at the comments. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Because you did that to me.
Oh,
And I took the heat. Like, and that's a real thing. Like, we have clients, like, I'm a bat phone to the clients. Like, they don't hit the editing team up when there's a problem with a video. And these things happen. Like, I don't want to say, like, when we do 4,000 videos a month, like, shit slips through.
hmm.
Like, even with like 3 levels of revisions and fucking people watching this shit. Like, my phone, it'll go off, usually an audio message. They don't call. It's usually an audio message. And I get that feeling of anxiety when I look at that audio. It's like, is this a good one or is this a bad one? Like, and I'm like, I have to like prep myself
Yeah. I know
like
exactly
to
what you're
listen to this thing. And it's like, it might be a Brandon one. It's never, some people I talk to their team. It might be
Yeah.
the lead of their team, or it might be, or if it is them, sometimes it is them. Hopefully those are good.
Yeah.
Like, but like I encourage that. Like if you're like I don't like it's my company, it's my product. Like and I call it's pizza. Like
Mhm.
every time a video is posted, it's like delivering a pizza for me. Like, but I don't have Domino's.
Mm-mm.
Like my pizza's fucking craft. Like that shit is premium. Like
Mhm.
we got hand rolled dough with like, special pepperoni from Italy shipped in. Like, and if that pizza shows up and it's too hot, somebody's not going to eat it. That's a
Mhm.
bad pizza. If it's too cold, it's a bad pizza. It's got to be just right on the temperature. It's also got to show up on time.
Yep.
It's got to be predictable. You got to get the same piece pizza every time you order. Like, I mean, I know it's like the delivery driver when they drop it off. Like, are they happy? Like, would you give them a good tip? Like, I feel like that's like every agency should operate with the pizza model. Like, but I look at it like that. I'm like, yo, that pizza was too cold. Like, what are you doing? Why was that
Mhm.
delivered?
Mhm.
Like, why do we post that?
It's you probably have been in such a the what you just said about talking to people and that pit in your stomach. Service-based business owners or other people that don't run service-based businesses that deal with people have no idea what we're talking about, but like it's a part of building a callous brain in this type of business that you have to get really comfortable getting chewed the fuck out, like legit chewed the fuck out. And you got to get comfortable with the fact that you're going to have some very uncomfortable conversations on a very consistent basis because it's just like the nature of like what you're doing. Your volume is super high, the
Mm.
standards are incredibly high, the expectations are all there, and you know, accountability is accountability. So
Yep.
it's like you got to deal with that. How have you managed that?
I mean, it's reps. The more you get, like, and I also like I've gotten very transparent, like even with my team. I got tired of taking all the heat, and I was like, guys, I just want you to listen to this audio that I got. over the weekend because none of them they never come Monday through Friday. They always come on the weekends, and my editors have off on the weekends too. Like they work Monday through Friday. Like I don't have days off. So I signed up to be the CEO. So that's me. But like I play them the audios. Like I'm like, guys, like could this have been stopped if you watch that video one more time? Would you have seen maybe where you put the wrong wife in the video or the wrong girlfriend? You know, we've had that happen. Like, I'm like, just because it's on Google doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, or maybe you could have spelled their name right,
We've
like,
had that.
or maybe you could have, not put that part in where they look like an asshole.
Mm,
Like, that one right there, that one line that they said that makes them look like a raging dick, even though we know they're not.
mm.
And you could have cut that out. Like, or my favorite is when they leave out a piece that makes them not an asshole. Like, because people want to hate my clients. Like, so I'm like, we look at this from like, I have a checklist and it's just like, is it any part of this video? Do you think this client's an asshole? If yes, can you cut something out or can you add something in? That's in the fucking SOP. Like, or if at any point in this video you think that they're going to be represented poorly, reach out to your senior and say something. Because if they're feeling it and they're editing it, what do you think the fucking public's going to think?
Question on that, and this will be how we. 'Cause I've taken enough of your time already. Last question: when you saw that Chris Crone sleep schedule video for the very first time, there's no way you couldn't look at everybody involved and be like, "Holy fuck, that's going crazy."
We filmed it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing from the moment it was filmed
Well,
until it was edited.
I ask one question. When like a client spits out something, let's just say off the wall.
Mm,
I go, if this gets a million views, is this you believe in this? If the answer is yes, then I'm all for it. That's the client.
mm.
Like and like so I've just I mean, we've also protected the clients in a lot of shit. Like, but I also like I just ask, is that your beliefs? Like, do you 100% like you're cool with this? Like if we posted this with no edits, you're okay with that? And they say yes, absolutely. If not, I delete it from the camera right away.
Mm.
Those videos never see the light of day. Like, or like we make notes like this, if this gets edited, you're fucking fired.
Yep.
Like kind of shit.
Mhm.
Because but there's also shit that I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that. And I'm guilty because like my job as like a director
Mhm.
is like, tell me more about that. Like, what time do you wake up specifically? How long is that? How long do you have sex with your wife in the morning? Or
Mm.
how many books do you read? Why 2.5 and not 2x speed? Like, I'll probe. Like, because I know where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
And when it does, like, there was an instance like Chris Crone, he fired his whole team after hiring us. I don't know if can share this, but I mean I'm not under an NDA, but like his team made us delete a video. And it was one where I specifically like, and then his team had a call with me and they were mad at me. Now, in the first 90 days, and this is for context of like what we can do for somebody, like if you take somebody like him, he's prime
Mhm.
for massive views. And he already has a big ass business behind him. So more views, more money.
Mhm.
That's the reality of the fact. Like in the first quarter, we got him like almost 100 million views. Like I'm like, now naturally, you're not going to do that without pissing a lot of people off. Like, and one of the videos he said, I don't do business with fat people. And
Okay, yeah, keep going, sorry.
and that video, like he was just, and the premise of the video was like, if I'm going to do a business partnership with you, I consider this for life. I don't plan on failing in my business, which is a mindset thing. And he's like, and if your health is declining, you're not a good bet for me, which is 100% factual. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And that's just truth. Well, his team had us take that down. Come to find out, Chris was so upset that they had us take that down that he fired him. He's like, no, I said, and they like the team came at me, because that's what they do. Like they're like, and I said, we're gonna watch the raw file together. And I do this. Like we save everything. It's categorized. Like file management for us is a fucking nightmare. But for reasons like this, it's not. Like I played the raw file, and after that like 2 minute rant or whatever, you hear my voice. Is this your beliefs? Like 100%. Like we can post this. Like you're not going to think twice about this. And he's like, absolutely not. 100% believe in that. I said, what did Chris just say right there? I said, why did you guys delete that? Like, why are you silencing your boss? Like, they weren't working for him much longer after that.
Holy shit, man. I could literally go on for another 3
I
hours.
could too.
Yeah, man. But I really appreciate you coming on, man. Last thing that I want to mention, you got the Attention Summit coming in January.
Yes.
How can people find out about that and who should attend that?
I mean, it's all over my Instagram, but apparently nobody pays attention. So I'm posting about it now. Like we're within like 2 weeks, I think, or 2.5 weeks. So it's January 4th through 6th. First day's a VIP day. I am charging for the VIP day. It's $1,000. It's just for more access to me. If you feel like I've earned that, cool. If not, come the next 2 days, which is basically free. It's donation based only. I'm the only psychopath that does donation events, and everybody thinks I'm nuts for it. But we have over 100 people RSVP'd so far. I expect that to double in the next 2 weeks because everybody waits till the last minute, anyways. It's the Instagram. It's on my pin post. It'll be there till after the event, and yeah, it's in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's one of those events where you probably travel to it. My speakers are incredible. I just secured another one. I just keep spending money. My operator loses her mind. But Adley is speaking. She's the girl I talked about earlier in this podcast. She gets over 1 billion views a month on Facebook. She's one of the highest paid Facebook creators, and to the tune of millions of dollars a month on Facebook. She basically does every prank video you see on Facebook. Is either her or somebody that works for her. Brandon Carter is speaking. Epic Dental is speaking about how viral videos have grown their business by 40%, which is to the tune of like going from 2 to 6 million per year ish. I don't know the specific numbers, but it's in the millions. I just secured. I don't know his actual name. It's Arab or Arab. He's a massive YouTuber. He goes to like his last video was I spent 100 hours with the Mexican drug cartel. He's grown from like 100,000 to 1 million in the last like 7 months on YouTube. He also created his own site that has over 500,000 members. Guy's incredible. He literally becomes friends with the mafia. Like he goes to the slums of India. Like just a fascinating guy. He goes. It's basically just him and a GoPro.
Mm.
He vlogs like all these incredible experiences. He's coming to speak. Forget who else is coming to speak. I don't know. I got a bunch, and I'm going to be talking a lot as well as my team. But it's donation based only. So even if you have a bad time, you might be out $5. So.
No, last year it seriously opened our minds up. You were incredible at what you do, and I'm so glad that you continually to teach people how to try to compete with you in the marketplace.
Yeah, and who should come if you want more agency focus. The VIP day is for the agencies for the most part. I am charging $1,000 to tell my competition what to do now. But the other 2 days are more creator focused, just how to get views and how to monetize them. So if you're just somebody who's interested in creating content, it could be for yourself or others, but the business aspect of the agency, I'm going to be sharing like how we structure everything. Like my operator is going to be talking like, how she's like basically brought organization to a creative based company that was chaotic as fuck for 2 years. So yeah, like more of the business stuff will be on that, but more creative stuff on the other side.
Dude, well, thank you so much for real. Appreciate it. I feel like I learned a bunch, and yeah, it's fucking awesome. Thank you,
So
man.
thank you for having me.